Last year, I walked onto The Tonight Show wearing a pair of augmented reality glasses that honestly felt like something pulled straight out of a sci-fi movie. Back then, it was more of a look-what-s possible moment than a real product for everyday people. Fast forward 1 year, and things have changed big time. Asus has now partnered with Xreal to turn that futuristic AR display tech into something far more focused and practical. This video is sponsored by Asus, and today we're relooking at the result. The ROG Xreal R1 Gaming Glasses A are glasses built specifically with gamers in mind. At first glance, they don't look like much. They just look like sunglasses sitting in a hard case. But once you put them on and power them up, you realize what Asus is actually trying to do here. These aren't VR goggles, and they're not trying to replace your PC or console. Instead, they're really trying to replace the screen, or at least give you a massive virtual one that you can take anywhere. Inside, the lenses are dual 108 tube micro displays, one for each eye, with an incredibly fast 0.1 millisecond response time. That alone already makes them interesting for gaming. On top of that, Asus pushed the refresh rate all the way up to 240 Hz, which is honestly wild for a wearable display. Pair that with old contrast, and you get motion that feels ridiculously smooth, especially in fast-paced games. No ghosting, no smearing, just instant response. The field of view sits at 57 degrees, which Asus says can simulate a screen as large as 171 inches floating several meters in front of you. Obviously, you're not actually staring at a 171-inch panel, but the illusion works surprisingly well. It feels like sitting a comfortable distance away from a large monitor rather than having a screen jammed right up against your face. And because these displays hit up to 700 nits of brightness, visibility isn't an issue even in brighter environments. One of the more underrated features here is the electrochromic dimming. When you're actively looking at the screen, the lenses darken automatically, blocking out distractions. Look away, and they lighten again so you can see yourself. It sounds small, but in practice, it makes these way more usable, especially if you're working or gaming around other people. Now, since these glasses don't have a built-in battery or processor, they're incredibly lightweight, just 91 grams. All the power comes from whatever device you plug them into. That's where Asus's custom ROG dock comes in. Not every device supports full video output over USB-C, especially at high refresh rates. So Asus built a dock with DisplayPort and power input, then a dedicated output for the glasses. It basically turns these into a universal display you can hook up to almost anything. Consoles, desktops, handheld PCs, you name it. The dock also brings in some classic ROG gaming features. You get an on-screen FPS counter, and yes, even a built-in crosshair overlay if you're feeling particularly unashamed. Asus has hinted at more features coming later, but even right now, it feels very much like a gaming product, not just a tech demo. Comfort-wise, Asus clearly thought things through. In the box, you get multiple nose pad sizes, a prescription lens insert, and different frame sizes depending on your head shape. The hinges even allow for subtle angle adjustments, which helps dial in the viewing position. At first, it feels like you're bending something you shouldn't, but no, that's intentional. Once adjusted properly, the image sits exactly where it should. Audio comes from Bastun to open speakers built into the arms. They're fine, clear enough, usable in a pinch, but realistically, most people will just connect Bluetooth earbuds or headphones to whatever device they're using. Thankfully, you're not locked into the built-in audio. When it comes to actually using the glasses, there are multiple display modes. You can have the screen, follow your head, stay anchored in one spot, or remain locked in place regardless of movement. Personally, I prefer anchor mode. Follow mode looks impressive at first, but for longer sessions, it can cause some eye strain for certain people. That said, everyone's tolerance is different. What really surprised me is how good 108OP looks at this perceived size. Even at the largest virtual screen setting, the image stays sharp and readable. Old contrast helps a lot here, and the instant response time makes games feel incredibly fluid. Casual games feel great, competitive games feel responsive, and even productivity tasks are totally usable. There are limitations, of course. Right now, there's no HDR support, which means you're not getting those ultra-bright highlights or HDR tone mapping. And while the experience is impressive, this type of display simply isn't for everyone. Some people are more sensitive to AR and VR style visuals and may experience headaches or eye strain. ASUS recommends starting with short 30 to 40 minute sessions and gradually increasing over time. Honestly, that's good advice. One area where these glasses really shine is privacy. Nobody around you can see what you're doing. On a plane, a bus, or in a shared office, your screen is completely invisible to everyone else. Whether you're working on something confidential or just enjoying content in peace, that alone is a huge advantage over traditional displays. So are these going to replace your desk monitor? Probably not, but that's not really the point. The ROG X Real R1 glasses are about flexibility, portability, and immersion. They're for people who want a big, smooth, high refresh rate display without being tied to a single location. Pricing hasn't been announced yet, and availability is expected around Q2, with the glasses initially bundled with the dock. Whether they re-worth it will ultimately come down to cost and how much you value this kind of experience. But one thing is clear. This no longer feels like a gimmick. It feels like a serious attempt at redefining what a gaming display can be. Thanks again to ASUS for sponsoring this video and giving me early access to the ROG X Real R1 gaming glasses. There's plenty more CES coverage coming, so make sure you're subscribed in. I'll see you in the next one.